COD Zombies suck. COD Zombies, yeah, Call of Duty Zombies sucks now. So I'm building my own by ArtsyMoose. Yeah, I miss when COD Zombies was good, bro. Yo, it was such a fun game mode, and then the newer CODs, yeah, of course, made it horrible with like everything else just getting worse and worse.
COD Zombies.
So go to make his own game, I presume.
I love COD Zombies. My first map was Kino on Black Ops 1. I don't quite remember who introduced me to the game mode, but I think it was my friend David. Anyway, I would get out of school and then I would rush home to play. I have so many memories with the mode, and even after most of my friends outgrew it, I still kind of hung on to it. I'd buy the annual COD game just to play the new Zombies experience. Like, think of all the games that were not Treyarch made that had zombies. Yeah, I would buy like
Yeah.
all of those just for zombies. I'd suck at multiplayer, but you know, at some point, it just lost its magic. And to clarify, this is not one of those videos dragging modern zombies. There's a bunch of people who already do that for a living, and they can articulate those thoughts much better than I could. But to sum up my personal gripes, it lacks a certain flair that I like in my games, and the gameplay systems in place are kind of hand-holdy, while rewarding people who could care less
Yeah.
about the actual product that is Call of Duty Zombies. Think about all the people you know who go into zombies just to XP grind, or just to camo grind, or like calling cards and emblems and stuff like that. Like, I don't think there's any issue with playing the game to get those rewards, but back in the day, you only played zombies because like you enjoyed zombies. There was no like exterior motivation to do that. If you liked zombies, you just liked it. So whenever they made a new zombies experience, they made it for the people who actually liked the game mode. And I feel like that's kind of
True.
lost on the modern audience. In addition to all of that, I feel like Origins started this trend of every map requiring the player to collect a bunch of parts or complete minor quests and Easter egg steps to get set up in any capacity. These gameplay elements are not negatives. The mode was old and simplistic and needed to evolve with the audience in order to compete with the ever changing video game market. But making every map require a Noah J or Mr. Raffle Waffles video in the background to get a pack a punch it was definitely too excessive. I tried playing Shadows of Evil not too long ago, and forgot that you had to open areas of the map in this limited use beast mode to even attempt the rituals to unlock the Pack-a-Punch. If you missed 1 meter and your timer ran out, you had to wait for your next beast mode ability activation, and it makes things tedious if you're not super optimized. And don't even get me
Yeah.
started on this one. Zombies, in my opinion, began to stumble when they started dismissing the casual experience. I firmly believe that Black Ops 3's Chronicles DLC is the best selling DLC of all time because it took the classic no bullshit straight to the point maps and paired them with the best zombies engine we've had to date. The movement was great,
Mm.
Gobblegums added a lot of variety, ammo modifiers added new strategic approaches, and the game had something for everyone in the end, topped by vibrant and colorful over-the-top art direction. Recently, I felt the urge to dive into zombies
Honestly, my favorite COD zombie was Black Ops 3 Zombies. That was absolutely great.
again and decided to re-download the Black Ops Zombies app on iOS. I mostly play it on my work breaks, and it's been great. It's nostalgic, has some of my favorite maps, and has the classic zombies gameplay loop that I love. The one where I buy a few things, then run in a circle until I die. It's incredible. There's just one downside. The app is a bit older, so it only has touchscreen controls, and I have catcher's mitts for hands. Like, really, really big hands. I could probably find some way to mod the IPA file, then sideload it again using AltStore, or maybe I can download NZP onto my PS Vita and take that, but then that's another thing I have to take with me to work. So, inspiration hit. I got the delusional idea to make my own zombies game. I mean, I have the skill set to do it, and while searching around for controller support options, I learned that there's not only still some interest in this game, but that it's not even listed for purchase anymore on mobile marketplaces, which means you can't play it unless you already own it or
Sail the seven
I mean, you
seas.
could use other means to get it, but we're not going to discuss that today. I could be fixing my own problem while fixing other people's problems. I know you can play zombies on one of the modern COD mobile titles, but last I checked, there was just Shinonuma, and like, let's be for real, bro. Who boots up zombies and is excited to play Shinonuma? So I brought out some of my notes from university to create a project plan and the game
Also, is he just going to mod the game, not make a full game? Hmm?
design document and got to work with a prototype. There's a lot of things not quite ironed out yet, so we'll just brush over some general goals here and then flesh everything else out as we go. To start, I want this game to be playable on both mobile and PC, and controller
Oh, is it
support for
going
the
to?
mobile
I
version is
don't know.
non-negotiable. I have really
Oh, okay, so he's going to make his own game, I think. Let's see.
really big hands. And most phone games without controller support while having big ass
Yeah, I
hands are
also have
rough,
big hands.
but shooters particularly suck for this. I'll leave in the little on-screen thumbsticks for people who prefer that, but I refuse to ship.
Yeah, that's I think that's the reason why I never got into like mobile first person shooter games. Like yeah, my hands are just too big for that, bro. So many buttons next to each other. The only mobile game that is like similar to that I got into was like War Robots. That was a very nice game. But yeah, the for that one the controls were very spaced out and there are way fewer than something like Crossfire.
Suck for this. I'll leave in the little on-screen thumbsticks for people who prefer that, but I refuse to ship anything I make without controller support. A professional goal is
Good.
simply to develop my portfolio. I graduated in May of 2025, so my free software
Mhm.
licenses are ending within weeks at this point, and I've received a number of rejection letters from my job applications. While it is
Yes.
important to acknowledge the declining state of the job market, I feel it's just as important to simply accept that I need to get good. I clearly just don't
Yeah,
have something that studios want, and I can't get the experience without creation, so I will create because I have faith in myself. And what is faith if you
I'm graduating next year. I really hope when I release my game it'll be successful. I like at least enough to like sustain myself for a few years so that I can like work on the next game basically without having like any worries.
don't continue in it after failure? I will be acquiring perpetual licenses to sell. And what is get the experience without creation? So I will create because I have faith in myself. And what is faith if you don't continue in it after failure? I will be acquiring perpetual licenses to some
Mm,
softwares and free
true.
alternatives to others to continue my grind toward being a professional artist. Developing
Unreal.
my portfolio and learning as much as I can is really important to me. I've also gotten really rusty with my drawing skills, and I'll be flexing those muscles too. Professionally, my focus is environment.
I really need to practice drawing, bro. I'm so bad at drawing. Like, sure, it's going to take years, but then that's why I really need to practice. Because, like, I know it's going to take a longest time, so I better be consistent now. Yeah,
Art, and recently that's been more 3D. I thought I had some good work, but it's simply not good enough. So things like 3D models, trim sheets, environment
honestly, I'm surprisingly better at 3D than I am at 2D. Should I just lock in and just stick to 3D only? I don't know. Maybe.
layout, and lighting are my primary concerns. But I do hope to learn more blueprinting along the way for fun. That said, there are some things far outside the scope of my current ability. If I use any pre-existing assets or code, I'll be sure to mention it in the video and future projects. There's a couple I'll be featuring here, so let's get into that. I'm going to do my best to not copy other people's homework, but sometimes you just really hit daunting walls and need help. This phase of the project would not be possible without Gem Games and his COD Zombies and UE5 tutorial series. The zombie and window logic would have been completely lost on me prototyping without his video tutorials. And the more important logic I'm building upon is mostly his. I originally started this series from
Jeez, it's a
scratch,
long
and very early
series.
on, like in the first few episodes during gun setup, I realized I didn't like the way he set up weapon behavior. I went into the series with some baseline knowledge from university classes I've taken, and I felt that holding all the weapon info on the player character was inefficient, though I didn't know much about guns in games. So I looked on the
Mm,
Fab Marketplace for something modular and contained. I found this asset. It's made by a guy named SB. It's called FPS Game Starter Kit, and it features a lot of things that sped up the development process really quickly. It's really easy to use and edit, and the documentation and Discord support have come in clutch many times over. A newer addition to my asset kit for this project was his perk system. It's made by a guy named Whippy Games. I looked at their content and it looks like they did a really good job of making their own zombies template for purchase. I highly recommend it if you want to make your own game and don't know blueprinting. I was stressing at work one day scheming up how perks can work while being legally distinct and found this on the asset store. It was on sale for like $3 and I figured I could simply study it. It uses techniques I knew about and understand, but I would have never come up with it on my own. I learned a great deal from it. All of these systems together, with a great deal of additions of my own creation and help from my teacher Eric where needed to pull it all together, got me to where I am now with the coding. It's not perfect, and it still has a long way to go with polish, especially to be polished enough to run on iOS of all things. But I was finally starting to get something that resembled a game. So I wanted to take some time to create a dedicated testing environment and thought it would be really fun to graybox Noctur and Totem. That's the first zombie map in case you didn't know. I didn't use any reference. I kind of just went off memory, only realizing Noct was way bigger than I
bro.
remembered after the fact. My main tests were to make sure window
Off memory, building a map is such a bad idea. Yeah, 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 you're gonna miss so much details.
only realizing Noct was way bigger than I remembered after the fact. My main tests were to make sure window logic worked, so zombies wouldn't spawn in rooms the player hasn't opened yet, and to test how the horde navigates certain spaces to see if I'd actually need to code avoidance into the zombie AI or if it was okay as it was. The assets I used the gray box this are from a class I purchased in like August. It's called the Environment Art Mastery course. It's sold by
Can I just say I love how what's it called, Unreal does the how Unreal's level building is like. It's is much more better than Unity because of the snapping. You can basically do like what's it called, like either free, which is like normally just move it around, or you can lock it to like increments, and that makes like way easier to place things correctly. And there's even like a shortcut for snapping to the ground. I really love that. It's like little things, but bro, those things add up. Like when you don't have them, the time it takes to like build out levels, because you just realize, oh, this one is not fully flush, and then you have to go fix it up, and yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's one of the features I really love about Unreal.
Thiago Kalfke on Gumroad, and it completely changed how I approach environment art. It introduced me to the power of 2 grid placement and reinforced some ideas about modularity. I still haven't finished the projects I started with the class because I needed to save up for a substance designer and painter now that my student versions are expiring. But with this year's plans to ramp up my creative output, I certainly plan to do a lot more of them going forward. The material used on the walls is a grid material I made under Eric, my teacher mentioned earlier, and it uses world space to make the grid, so when you place meshes together, the grid connects seamlessly. I use this on a few of my other
Oh,
projects and stuff too. Thiago's
I was going to say what was the need of that, because Unreal's the default what's it called, the default material for building for the map is basically a grid one, but doesn't have that feature. That's a great feature.
together, the grid connects seamlessly. I use this
Yeah,
on a
the
few of my other
connection,
projects and stuff
that's
too.
great.
Thiago's grid texture is fine. I just didn't like the way the zombie window looked with his texture, and remembered I had this one in my bag somewhere. I do have a few ideas for original maps, gameplay mechanics, and story elements, and already have a bit of progress made toward those, but I kinda wanted to go with something familiar as my own proof of concept, which is why I picked Noct. At this point, I just want the zombies to make their way to the map, then chase down players. Gem did include logic for the zombies to remove boards and stuff in his tutorial series, but I didn't think I'd be keeping any of that. I made it, it's just turned off at the moment. And the FPS templates included interaction systems that completely break all of Gem's logic anyway. So I added logic through windows to hide the boards, so zombies just bypass this logic. You can think of them like the windows in COD that don't have boards. I'll find a few of them to show here in the video so you kind of get an idea of what I'm going for.
Sideways.
The most important functionality I needed to learn for this project at this stage was the part where the zombie gets to the playable area. From there, I can iterate. What if zombies tear down windows and walls? Can players rebuild them? What if these torn down walls unlock secret passages in the level? Can I make other materials available to reinforce different areas to customize gameplay experiences? These are the kinds of questions I'll be asking myself when I'm further into the project. It's also one of the reasons I prefer to watch long tutorial series instead of just haphazardly buying an asset and tossing it into my project. If I don't know how they work, I can't iterate, and at that point, it's just
Yeah.
asset flipping.
Mm.
Here's some gameplay. There's not much to it yet. The player can take damage for testing purposes, but they can't die. My double points implementation is broken because the point system is a little scuffed, but as you can see, the logic is there, it just needs to be reworked on a technical level. I followed Gem for this part, and he stores the points info in the HUD, which I'm sure is fine, but feels weird. I'm going to move it at some point. There is also a kill all event. This is my nuke equivalent. I set up a bunch on the level to test because there was an early bug where the zombie counter would go negative and stop round progression and spawning. My code to fix that is probably stupid, but it hasn't failed me since, so I'll probably be leaving that in. I also had an issue where zombies would sometimes swing, but not do damage because of the way the Unreal Engine handles collision events. I decided to just use a sphere trace to do this. I learned this from this guy, Ali. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm so sorry. He's an amazing Unreal
Zorhi,
creator, though. If you have a need that his
which are
content
that
addresses,
bad,
I
so
highly
bad.
recommend him. All of this coding talk hurts my brain, though. It's pretty smooth normally, but I felt a ridge developing over the last couple of weeks while building all of this. The next video will be more art focused. I'm not sure I'll focus on a super fleshed out story right now, but I have some ideas for a level or two already in progress that I think will be fun conceptually. I haven't flexed my art muscles in a while, and sketching in my ideas and then modeling them has been pretty fun. I'll make sure it's a focus in the next video. If you enjoyed this look at the game's early development, please let me know in the comments, or leave a like. Really, anything goes a long way at this point. I have just a few subscribers right now, and there's plenty of more space there for you if you want to jump into. I wasn't sure if this should be my first real video or not. I feel like I'm going to see like zero channel growth knowing YouTube is all about niches, and I just kind of don't fit any specific build. I have stats all over the place. So I'm
Nah, bro,
kind of
you're
just here for
famous
the love of the
already.
game, living my life through spite and audacity like I normally do. I'm interested in knowing how you take the blend of storytime vibes and game development. I kind of want to do my own thing, and your feedback is super important to me. Until next time.
Yeah, absolutely great. I'll play this game when he's finally done with it. I'm here for the journey. I will vi, vi, what's that word? Vicariously. Oh, now I feel dumb. I will vicariously through experience your dreams through you, brother. Yeah, yeah. If you need Easter egg songs, either original or covers of the classics, let me know. Oh, gotta help you. I love this kind of thing. In fact, I've already covered some of the classics. Yeah, yeah. Do not ever store info inside the hard. That is awful practice. I'm glad you picked up on how weird it was from the tutorial. I also have made their own zombies games called Nasty Zombies. I'll search that up. Oops. But didn't he said the code was on the player, not the HUD? Did he say the HUD or did he say he said the player, right? Y- Yeah, it's still bad practice, but didn't he say the player? Yeah, I moved it to the player character. The HUD stuff had oh, so it was on the HUD. Yeah, that's weird. That stuff had me scratching my head. A lot of it did change a lot. Uh, use the Unreal Engine YouTube videos and older GDC talks to get better idea of how things should be based. Okay. But I think it's also like bad practice to like put all the code on the player. But I guess it's fine. It's definitely much better than having code on the HUD. Like, bro, why is all the code on the HUD? That's so strange.